Thank you. Thank you. It is my honor to welcome all of you to FileMaker's largest annual gathering of partners, customers, and developers. This is a day I've been looking forward to for a long time. For 20 years, our DNA has been defined by the idea that we want to make powerful technology available to everyone. Now, as my first time CEO address to all of you, I want to frame this discussion as an invitation. I want everybody to have an opportunity to buy in to our journey. I recognize the relationship between all of us is symbiotic. We depend on each other for mutual success. So today, I plan to share with you not only our vision, but what we're going to do to make it happen, how we'll accomplish it, and ultimately, why. My intention is to share with you our strategy, our values, our brand identity, and our course. I hope to keep today simple, and I imagine some of the things I share will surprise you. Our strategy starts with three simple components. We've shared these many times. It's the problem solver, the workplace innovation platform itself, and our ecosystem. Speaking to the workplace innovation platform, we are framing this around custom apps, integrations, and workflows, components we see as critical to digital transformation. Our ecosystem extends globally. More than half of our business happens outside of the US, and we aim for that to continue. We have a huge partner ecosystem who provide mentoring, consulting, and development services that are critical to client outcomes. And we provide online training and a certified network of trainers to educate our developers. And then there's the critical element of problem solvers. This is a range of citizen developers and professional developers who we aim to grow. So let me speak about the problem solver component. This chart is a bit academic, and it's our impression of the strengths and definitions of a problem solver. So you're looking at a Y and X axis. On the Y axis is the dimension of information technology. On the X axis is business expertise. And I think most of you would acknowledge these skills are critical for anybody developing FileMaker. In addition, we measure these soft skills in circles around project management, communications, resilience, and creativity. The problem solver fills in those gaps, and we recognize that our developers are a little bit different. There are many developers who work for FileMaker that are incredibly strong on the information technology axis. They might have PhDs in advanced areas of computer science and engineering. But candidly, I wouldn't put too many of them in front of our customers. And I love them. Driving client outcomes requires working collaboratively with your customers. If you're an in-house developer, it serves all the same. So we recognize this is a unique combination of skills, and many of you have pioneered this effort. Ultimately, there is an element of aptitude, and intelligence can be derived in many ways, but we see this as the real strength and aptitude of our problem solvers. The impact of problem solvers is felt globally. In Rwanda, heart surgery is possible with efficiencies never before thought possible based on your contributions. IoT integrations at manufacturing processes in the UK happen because of problem solvers. Lots of customers have a CRM solution that provides cutting-edge advantage based on your work. We're in 95% of the Fortune 500. We have all contributed to significant job creation. And since I'm not going to show this as a slide to prevent any conspiracy theories, this has been happening now for 80 consecutive quarters of profitability. As we describe what the problem solver looks like and who the problem solver is, it takes me back to when I was recruited at FileMaker. Dominique brought me in with a promise that this community was really special. And the community has in every sense exceeded my expectations. As so many of you know, there's warmth and generosity as a core component of this community. I know I have personally shared in grief and loss and celebrated exciting aspects of my life with so many of you. And I like to think we've all been there for each other through those big aspects of life. Stepping into Dominique's shoes, I recognize they're big to fill, and I'm excited for our journey together. That being said, I'd like to pause for a moment and let the problem solvers speak for themselves.
Our work is for the problem solvers. The question askers and solution seekers. Those who step up when it's time to reach higher. Think bigger, work smarter. Using the right technology. Those who see a problem as an opportunity and a challenge as a reward. Those who refuse to accept good enough because they're too busy aiming for amazing. Our work is for the innovators. Our work is for you.
So, problem solver. It looks like that. It looks like us. It looks like you. And this is a community we need to grow and nurture. I'd like to introduce to you our core values. We've been through an exercise over the last 4 months of determining what standards we want to live by and adhere to, what commitments and promises we can make to you as our valued community. And they're outlined here. So let me detail a few. One is focus on the future. As we talk about growing this community, we have to ask ourselves, how are we going to do this? So far, we've worked with a series of what I would describe as tactics that have been really successful. I've personally been involved in our mission with 42 and more recently Apple Academy to recruit, train, and place students into jobs within this community. Both with 42 and Apple Academy, we're able to tap into this incredible talent pool of students who otherwise don't have access to education, and they don't have the opportunity to pursue a career like yours. It's particularly troubling given how scarce the supply of developers is for our industry. One of the great aspects of this program is how excited the students get about the opportunity. The combination of mentoring, internships, professional development that they receive from those of you who have participated with them is completely life-changing. Some of these students are graduating high school with no vision, no opportunity of attending college, yet they have all the aptitude in the world to reach really high heights. So what these programs have done is provide no-cost education, resources so that they can understand career possibilities, potential, interview skills, and we've also been able to provide a stipend so that they have, the basics of food. Some of these schools provide housing to make sure we get these students started moving. I'm excited to share that we have a number of them here from both universities as a part of our scholarship program, and I encourage all of you to reach out, introduce yourselves, and get to know this great group. There is incredible talent here. The partners who have participated in these programs have been really successful. So our commitment is to shift this from tactics to strategy. We will continue to invest in online learning resources, a jobs board, matching and pairing between us and the community to help grow this. We're running 2 programs a year with 42. There are about 20 students going through each program in the US. We've recently opened up with our European campus in Paris. And Apple Academy, we just started our 2nd year curriculum as a part of their program in Naples, Italy. So we think we're going to produce a lot of great talent we can introduce to the community through this strategy. Passion is a value that every employee really needs to live by. We've determined that there's incredible energy in helping FileMaker reach its potential. We think it's untapped, and all the employees are on board participating with innovation over the next several years. We've now separated our teams between engineering and product. Hopefully many of these faces are familiar. Most of these people are here. I'm excited to share we've also created a new product function. Many of these faces should be familiar. This is led by a new hire, Srini Garapu, who will be presenting tomorrow to share our product vision, including prototypes and demos. Now, what's really different and what's changing is the way we're driving innovation within this organization. As a part of our commitment to passion, we've created an innovation funnel through our product strategy forums, and all of our engineers are invited to contribute. They can create prototypes, offer up ideas for new features, and get those into the product. Please join tomorrow morning in this room at 9 a.m. to learn about our product vision. Agility is the feedback we hear, and I would say the value that seems most important to our community. We've always heard people say how quick it is to deploy FileMaker. You can prototype, take apps into production, iterate, and make changes. We think that's what you guys value the most. And so from that, we've taken inspiration and recognized that we have some catching up to do. We need to move more quickly, and we're committed to doing just that. Now, that's going to happen for us in 2 different ways. One, we're going to focus on organic innovation. As I mentioned, we have the product strategy forums. I'm also excited to share that today we're announcing our first acquisition in over a decade. We've acquired a company, for some of you this may be no secret at all, called Stampley. Stampley was based out of Rome, Italy. It was a small team. They built out an integration platform as a service, a cloud-native technology that would connect 150 different cloud services to each other. The focus of this was based on unique insights by a really small, passionate team of 6 people. Through the acquisition, we have onboarded and relocated 2 of them to make them permanent parts of our organization. So I'd love to invite the founder of Stampley up to speak with us for a few minutes so he can share his early insights, his vision, and explain why he decided to come on board. So for the first time, please welcome me in joining Giuliano Iacobelli. Good to see you. So tell us about it, Giuliano.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Well, since the beginning, Stampley North Star has been empowering problem solver to innovate faster, perform better, and solve bigger problems than ever before. At the core of our mission, there was a problem. The workplace today is flooded by applications, but organizations struggle to integrate and automate processes that run across them. So what we built at Stampley was, and is, a powerful and yet easy-to-use platform that allows organizations to integrate data and automate processes across multiple applications in a matter of minutes. I always believe that organizations will either be enabled by or slowed down by their technology. And in this context, I strongly believe that what we build enables problem solvers to leverage their most critical software features to optimize their operation in a less labor-intensive way. With a very small team of talented and passionate people working out of Italy, we basically built a way for the 500 million knowledge workers to do their job better. And today, I'm super excited to announce that our platform has a new home.
Where is that home?
It's FileMaker. So we've been through this long way of crazy ups and downs of this startup journey. We spent countless hours of coding to ship new product features. We got tons of no's from investors before getting to at least one yes. And we had hundreds and hundreds of customers' conversations to understand their needs better. And of course, so many sleepless nights, as you can imagine. But it was fantastic and insane at the same time. And when I met with the FileMaker team, there were three things really kind of captured my attention. And the first one was the incredible developer community they've been building over the years. The second is the team that has pioneered problem solvers empowerment for more than 50,000 organizations across the world. And last but not least, how much we share the same vision of the future of the modern workplace. So you and the team have seen that you have relentless customer focus, you have world-class culture, and a deep knowledge of how people want to work in a digital, collaborative, and intelligent way. And by teaming up, I truly believe that we'll be able to drive seamless and powerful transformation for a huge variety of organizations across the world. So I'm super excited to be here. I'm honored to be part of this team now. And I really look forward to meet with as many of you as possible over the next 3 days. And yeah, that's pretty much my story.
That's awesome. Thanks, Giuliano. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks.
We believe this is incredibly powerful technology. This is, we've been able to create integrations for quite some time. Integrations have been a focused part of our product roadmap and something we've promised to deliver more of. The challenge has been integrations have really happened more so through scripting and advanced work. They've been relatively inaccessible if you look to work with our data API as a citizen developer. So Stampley creates a huge possibility for citizen developers to participate in integrations and workflow creation. In addition, there is the possibility for JavaScript and customizations within the Stampley platform. So that also creates relevant opportunities for our partners to create packages, products, and services to automate processes and flows in a really sophisticated way. So I think there's value for our entire community in this platform. As I mentioned, it is a cloud-native technology. We'll be taking it into beta in October and offering it sometime this spring for general availability. We will offer this as a separate service to FileMaker, and we think it creates a really engaging opportunity for us to bring on more developers, more problem solvers of all varieties. With that, we need to think about creativity a bit differently. We're creating new product and service possibilities. We recognize the creative fibers that run through this community for so many as artists and musicians. We identify with 42's belief that every developer is an artist. You're working in a coding environment, creating output that's appreciated as a product very differently by the end users. And we really subscribe to that philosophy. So with that, I'm excited to announce our commitment to a new marketplace. This is a long-term product roadmap for us. We're going to have our first iteration out soon. This will significantly clean up and heighten the opportunities for exchange between customers, partners. As I talk about Stampley and the opportunity to build new services through that offering, our marketplace will be a great place for some of you to feature those offerings, and this is coming very soon. As you can see, we're focusing on new design standards, new script, new copy, standardization of the presentation and display, and we think it's going to be a great addition to support this partnership we're developing with Stampley. Our commitment as employees is critical to success, and that's understood by everybody. I've worked with a rubric by Jennifer Aker from Stanford University and training the management team around this. And it goes, employees want to be valued members of a winning team on an inspired mission. I see that fundamentally as my job. My job is to nurture and support the culture that as employees we want to build and commit to. So with that, I'm sharing principles of transparency, increased communication, decentralized decision-making so that we can move more quickly. And we're going to do that in a spirit of respect, deliberation, and with a huge fight for excellence. So to explain our culture in action, I'd like to introduce on stage our longtime, very familiar face, Director of Platform Evangelism, Andy Lacates.
Mom. Good morning, everyone. I am delighted to be back for another DevCon, and I think of all the DevCons I've been here to present at, I am most excited about this. I think hopefully you can already sense the change that is happening in the format of this presentation and the leadership that Brad is taking to carry us forward. Brad has asked me up here to revisit something that we introduced last year. If you recall, we had a special session to talk about our product category, being the Workplace Innovation Platform. And of course, implicit to the Workplace Innovation Platform is the general narrative about the problem solvers who are disillusioned by technology, who have appliance apps that aren't stepping up for them, or have enterprise systems that don't meet the needs of their specific team needs, et cetera, and are stuck in a work rut, but will find a way. They're smart, they're impatient, and given a problem, will solve it. If they can't find a solution, they'll make it, right? And so this still remains the core of our strategy. All the things that you've heard from Brad today, the commitment to marketplace and our ecosystem, the acquisition of Stampley to round out our platform to be the best workplace innovation platform, this is deep strategy for us. I made the commitment last year that this wasn't just marketing lingo, that this really is a guidepost, a blueprint for our engineers to make the best possible platform. It's a framework for which our marketing department can describe ourselves accurately to a customer base out there, and it helps our sales teams with relevance and accuracy when we're selling to customers. So we still consider this very, very important. You can see that we're iterating, we're evolving how we approach the Workplace Innovation Platform, but we are all in. By way of update, over the last year, we've had great success with the Workplace Innovation Platform. Our goals were multifold. One is to align our entire company internally to drive forward and build the best whip. The second was to align with you and to go to market and make sure that we are on the same page with our go-to-market strategy and messaging. And I have to say that it has been extremely humbling, rewarding, and validating to hear the reflection back from our community, our partners, and our customers on the relevance and the accuracy of Workplace Innovation Platform. That leads to our third goal, which is to look for third-party validation of the Workplace Innovation Platform as well. And many of you know that this past year, G2 Crowd has put a Workplace Innovation Platform category on their website. For those of you who aren't familiar with G2 Crowd, you can think of them as analogous to Yelp, right? They're a place where customers can come and do reviews on software they've purchased, and in the aggregate, those reviews lead to scores. But in the case of G2 Crowd, they overlay an analyst function to define categories to help customers search for the software they might need. And after we presented at DevCon last year, we met with G2 Crowd, and they got it. They found the validity of Workplace Innovation Platform, and they built a quadrant for us. Then the magic happened. And the magic being this community, our customer base, really came forward to put a lot of positive reviews around our platform, and you can see the results here. In January or February, I can't recall exactly the date, they released the quadrant. We quickly moved far up and to the right, and that is entirely your fault, so thank you. By way of small update, G2 Crowd has since re-released the quadrant, and for the summer, we remain in a leadership position. Then a couple weeks ago, we also got some validation from Forrester. Many of you know Forrester as a very credible, very prized analytics organization that businesses trust worldwide to give them advice on software. And Forrester released a wave document for low-code platforms for business developers, and FileMaker landed way up and to the right. We are a leader in their category. It's okay. I heard it. Oh, so thank you, Dad. This is important because we have not had a history of Forrester wanting to say lots of positive things about us, and this is a really great time for us that they're coming out and calling us a leader. Now, you may see a disconnect in the fact that they've categorized us as low code, and we believe ourselves to be workplace innovation. Of course, they recognize that as well, and if you read their document, they explicitly say that FileMaker fashions itself a workplace innovation platform, but they believe our low-code tooling is very strong enough to merit a leadership position in their quadrant. We couldn't be prouder of this. You know, we do believe that low-code functionality is a critical part of our blueprint, and so we are very, very pleased to be in this place. And then the question is, well, why now? Why did they suddenly decide that we're a leader in their quadrant? And we can't speak for Forrester, but we can make inference because in the document they refer to the workplace innovation platform. They also give us the highest possible scores for strategy and for community and a number of other things. And so given the strength of the messaging that we put behind our category in this past year, we think it's having an effect and it's helping us get things like this. We think this and the G2 crowd results are great assets for any of us in addressing customers that may not be familiar with FileMaker and giving them third-party validation that they can trust to analyze the platform. And we look good, so thank you. Thank you, everyone. So, we believe that part of the success or part of the value in defining the category as such is that there's core truth here, right? That the rut is real, that problem solvers are real, the way we address problems are real, and we find that on a regular cadence by talking to customers and seeing it in action. And I'd like to share a customer story that recently came to me that I think expresses really what our category is about. I also think they're really cool. The customer is Furnace Record Pressing. As you can probably divine from the logo, Furnace Record Pressing makes vinyl audio records. And they've been doing it for 23 years. In fact, I think it was last Tuesday or something, I saw on their Instagram that they celebrated their 23rd birthday as a company. They've been at it a long time, and they press records for many, many artists. If you've collected any vinyl records in the last 20 years or so, it probably was made by Furnace. And artists that care about the quality of the audio output and the quality of the delivery, they come to Furnace specifically. Like Metallica. Metallica has a huge fan base that collects their stuff, and they want to make sure that not just the disc, but the materials that go into the fold, the lyrics, the liner notes, the fake backstage passes, whatever goes in there, that their collectors want. They want it to be of the highest quality. You'll see Fleetwood Mac and Nirvana on here, who recorded their music at the Sound City Studios. If you've seen the rockumentary by Dave Grohl called Sound City, obviously it's legendary music. If you haven't seen the rockumentary, please go see it. It's really awesome. But they print their music. Neil Young uses them. Pink Floyd uses them. Frank Zappa uses them. Many, many great artists that care deeply about the quality of the product. And they make quality product. They print beautiful vinyl. They do the classic black vinyl, but they'll give you colors, they'll give it style. The labeling is exquisite. The packaging is beautiful. The inserts are beautiful. They're really, really proud of the quality of their product. And the reason is really their founder started in music, and he believes in the experience of vinyl records. And we'll talk about him more in a moment. You may be aware that vinyl is back. You may not be aware how much vinyl is back. In the last 12 years, new record sales in the US have increased by 18 times what they were 12 years ago. And analyzed by Forbes, the trading rates on used records has increased at the same rate. So vinyl is back in a big way. People aren't just collecting old records, they're buying new ones, and they love the experience of vinyl records. So that leads to an opportunity and a business challenge for the company. This is Eric Astor. Eric is the founder and CEO of Furnace Records. He is a guy, like I said, who has a passion for music. He grew up on music. Like myself, he grew up a fan of Ozzy Osbourne and the heavy metal bands. He ended up becoming a drummer, so he is a musician himself. He played in rock bands and in punk bands during the 90s until he founded this company. And so to capture the opportunity that's in front of him in his marketplace, he's made some big bets. Last year, he bought and built out a new manufacturing facility. He bought a bunch of new record pressing machines so that he could scale up his output. And he decided to make a big bet on software. Furnace had been using FileMaker for many, many years in classic fashion. Homegrown FileMaker, database systems that they had grown over the years, adding more functionality. They managed many, many, many parts of their business. But we've all been there. It evolved over time to become something of the Winchester Mystery House, right? And so he knew that he wasn't in the right place to take his business forward with it. So the bet he made was to leave FileMaker. And he went out and purchased an ERP system that was modern and he felt would scale his business and had all the promise of technology. He engaged with the systems integrator to deploy it, and it was expensive, of course. And then when it got to the customization and the integrator started giving him estimates on what was required, the price went 5 times what the initial estimate was for the software alone, and it became way out of reach, right? How many times have we been there before? So he canceled the project, and then he called us, because now he's kind of desperate. I wouldn't say desperate, but he needs to do something. He has FileMaker, so he called us and said, can we make this work? Well, we started with the success equation that Brad had mentioned before, right? We believe that a problem solver with a good workplace innovation platform supported by an ecosystem, this is where you get to success. They had FileMaker. They had the workplace innovation platform. They even had some internal development expertise. They had a developer named Jen, although Jen left the company when they were buying the new software and she was starting a family. But they had FileMaker. They had it in place. The platform was there. Did they have the problem solving, I guess is the question. And the answer is yeah, they did. And it goes deeply within the organization. Eric himself is a creative. He is, by any definition, an entrepreneur. He is an innovator. He constantly looks for problems and solves them. He's not just a manager. He runs around the plant looking for opportunities to build tools if he needs them. He's a woodworker. He's built things that I'll show you in a picture later that help his workers get their jobs done more quickly. On his left, or as we view him on his left, is Allie. Allie's his business manager and partner, and she is just brilliant. To his right there is a young guy over his shoulder in the white t-shirt is a guy named Willem. Willem is a young electrical engineer who keeps all the machines running, also very, very creative. And the way they manage is with a lean management style, and they do a stand-up of all the managers I can't remember the cadence, if it's daily or weekly, but they get all the managers together in the break room, they kind of get in a circle, and they give everybody just a couple minutes to surface any issues they've seen that need tackled, any opportunities that they could improve the business or efficiencies, and they present their ideas, they hash them out, they argue it out. If they can solve them, then they go out and do it. So in short, they very much have problem solving in their ethos and in their culture as a company, right? So they had problem solving, they've got FileMaker. What they might be lacking was deep technical expertise in FileMaker. Well, enter the ecosystem. Furnace Record Pressing engaged with Full City Consulting. Now, many of us know Full City Consulting, and many of us know Adam Aronson, who's the president of Full City Consulting. Adam has been a developer at FileMaker for many, many years and a member of this community. I would say probably the majority of people in this room consider Adam a great colleague and friend. The reason I'm digging in a little bit on Adam specifically is I cannot imagine Full City finding a better partner to work with. I'm hearing chuckles from the audience because you know where I'm going with this. Eric is a musician. Adam loves music. Eric is a woodworker. Adam is a woodworker. Eric presses the highest quality vinyl records. Adam collects the highest quality vinyl records. It's like it was meant to be, right? So we really felt that we could make something happen here. So just a couple months ago, this is actually very recent, they came to us a few months back, and around, I think, the late spring time frame, maybe April, we started having meetings between Full City and Furnace and us to get some ideas about what could be done. Now, Full City has done a lot of work with them in a short amount of time to help them modernize their data models, help them modernize their UI, best practices, and more to take that Winchester Mystery House and make it something that will carry them forward. But I want to talk about a specific use case that they also addressed, and actually in a short time frame, about 8 weeks, that I thought was really cool and went to what workplace innovation means. To talk about the use case, let me start with how a record is made. This is raw material PVC vinyl, right? It's plastic. And what you do is you melt this stuff down into a little disc called a biscuit. And that biscuit goes into this thing. This is one of the machines that Eric bought. And to put it in the simplest possible terms, if you have ever cooked waffles for breakfast, this is the world's biggest, hottest, most industrial strength waffle iron. In the middle of this thing are two stamper plates that are negatives of the A and B sides of a record. And they are pushed together at extremely high pressure. They're heated to 300 degrees. At full pressure, they go up to above 900 degrees, I believe. And they will print or stamp that little biscuit into a vinyl disc. It requires a little bit of cooling, so on the front of that machine, there's a device that will pull it out, spin it around on a platter. It will actually also carve off the excess vinyl on the edges. You can see that kind of happening there. And then you'll see that there's a disc on top of it with some suction cups that will pick up that disc when it's finished and cooled, move it over to the spindle on the right, and stack it up so that it can be sent over to an assembly line where the employees there will inspect every single disc and make sure that there's no defects that they can find, right? They care about quality, and they will look at every single one, and they will jacket them up, and they make a lot, right? Here's Fleetwood Mac Rumors on a recent print run that they did, or a project that they did to distribute, and then they take all these and they go to boxing. I included this picture not just for the infectious smile of the woman in the middle, but the box that she's surrounded by is the thing I was referring to earlier. Eric made that, right? And he did it because in one of their stand-up meetings, they decided that she needed an ergonomic place with all the components placed just so in the best possible organization so she could be as comfortable and as efficient as possible given the amount of material that she moves in a day. So those boxes then, of course, go down an assembly line. They get stacked on pallets. They get wrapped in plastic, and they get shipped out to a customer. Now you know how to make records. Easy peasy. The use case I want to talk about goes back to this. So this is one of the new machines that Eric bought to scale up his business. The machine is, however, not new. This machine is over 40 years old. It was manufactured in Germany. It was used in Mexico City, and Eric knew it was there. The industry's small enough that he probably had his fingers out and knew where every machine was in the world. But these machines were being retired in Mexico City, and so he bought these 40-plus-year-old machines, had them shipped to London to be refurbished, and then shipped to his new factory in Alexandria. Why would he go to all that expense? Well, like anything in craftsmanship and in craft manufacturing, when it comes to your tools, they just don't make them like they used to, right? And so he had to have these machines because they have the most efficient output, the highest quality output, and so he bought them. The challenge is that they're old and they're analog. They're analog to the core. There are, relay mechanisms that will control the time of cooking, the temperature, and the pressure and the pressing. But when they got these machines, all those lights and buttons there, some of them did things and they didn't know what they did. Some of them didn't do anything at all. And so enter Willem. If you remember Willem from the picture at the start, the young electrical engineer, he reverse engineered these and put the touch panel on there to help the controllers, the operators of the machines, have a chance at figuring out how to use them. But here's where the work rut comes in. These operators use these machines every day to do different projects, and it is an art. It is an intuitive art. It is not a science. They go in there and they fiddle with the switches and the relays to make sure that they get good output. But when they start a project that's going to print out thousands and thousands of record discs, the first runs are always error prone. They're always faulty, right? And so what ends up happening is they set the settings as close as they think to a successful possible output, and they get the machine running, and the first discs that come out are garbage. But the machine keeps running, and so why is that? Well, the why is that there are just too many variables in the equation. One of the variables is the PVC. Plain black records versus colored records, the materials act differently. The labeling that they put on a record may cause their requirements on the pressing to be different. The ambient temperature and humidity and air pressure may actually affect the output. And also, each individual machine has its own personality, as they say. They all act a little bit differently. They're quirky. In fact, the machine I showed you before, one exactly like that, they named Betty White. They named it Betty White because it was their oldest machine, but it did the best work, and they loved it, right? One of the machines is a bit of a diva, and they named it Rihanna. Go figure, right? So, the way that they engage with this hardware is very, very intuitive. Now, the waste then comes in because they're printing junk disks. They're shipping them off to an office in the building where they get very closely inspected for quality. And they will be refused by the QC guy. And then they will go back and fiddle with the settings, and they'll send them another disk, and that one gets refused by the QC guy. And they go through this loop a couple times, and all the while they're wasting time for the operators, they're wasting energy on the machines, they're wasting materials printing the records. They can recycle the vinyl, but it's a lot of waste, and so Eric wanted to solve for that. Well, the killer use case for Internet of Things is asset improvement. If you ask anybody, any analyst, what IoT is for, the first obvious killer use case is to take old machines and make them smart. And so we talked to them about this, and Eric immediately got it. And he's like, oh, I have this. And he pointed right to this use case. I want to solve for this waste problem. And so Willem took it upon himself to make a device to attach to these machines. This is a device he made. It has a little board on which he put two things. One is a converter translator that connects to the serial port, a DB9 or something, on the device, and it converts the signals coming out of there into essentially a computer standard format. The computer that receives it in this case then is the black thing on his board there, which is an IoT device. So when he plugs it in, that IoT device immediately starts streaming all of the setting data on a regular cadence up to the cloud. So now they're harvesting the information to know exactly what the machine is thinking as the machine is doing what it wants to do. And when they get to quality, they can figure out exactly what's right for the machine for a given type of run. They can reduce a lot of variables. What they really need to do after this, though, is correlate this or collate it with the activity of the operators themselves, right? To try and systematize their voodoo, their magic, their art. And so with the help of Full City's team, they built an app that runs on an iPad that can be attached to each machine or run next to the machine. And it allows the operator to log all of the steps in the workflow process. Because once he makes some settings, he's sitting there waiting for output, and he's got time. So he can enter some records and basically build an audit trail of, I started the job, sent a disk off to QC, they said no, I sent him another disk, they said no. Finally, they say yes on a disk, and we go to labels, and we're printing them in earnest. After a while, the stamper plates will actually degrade. You can get 500 or 1,000 disks out from one, so you swap those out. So every step along the way now, they can build an audit trail of the human operation. And that gets collated with the machine's thinking at the time. So now they've got a complete data equation they can learn from. And because it's a FileMaker app and everybody's sort of connected, even the QC guy has the ability to use this beautiful little UI that the Full City team helped them build, where he can, by sector, label them as having pops or ticks or dents or other damage that needs to be addressed for the A and B side. So it's really cool. It's a great little app. And it's available, of course, via FileMaker to anyone in the organization, including Eric, sitting at his desk. He now doesn't have to troll around the manufacturing floor to know what projects are running and how they're going. So they took a completely analog process that was very much based on guesswork and intuition and experience, and they've now systematized it. They're now capturing data. It's making them more efficient just in the process of the work, having the iPads nearby, but they're also learning from it. And Eric just gets it. These are his words, right? We're just trying to take the voodoo out of the process. He's a businessman. He knows he can improve what he can measure, and he wants to measure. So they made it happen. I thought this is a fantastic example of a great use case for FileMaker as a workplace innovation platform on an iPad. It's not just paper conversion to data. This is real workflow automation that's improving his business. He's gone from the monolithic Winchester Mystery House to now tasting what WIP can do for him to knock down problems in his organization the same way he builds a little wooden device for one of his packaging people. It's pretty cool, isn't it? So they're, in total size, they're an SMB customer, but like many of them, the entrepreneurial spirit is there, the ability to innovate is there, and I just think it hits on every part of our narrative on Workplace Innovation Platform, which was why I really wanted to share this one with you today. This has just started happening. A couple other highlights. Willem didn't know FileMaker at all. The electrical engineer, he never touched FileMaker before this project, and in less than a week, he built that IoT device, learned FileMaker, and started harvesting the data from the cloud into it. So in 1 week, he's smart, man. The guy was awesome. What we try to do is build a reliable platform that offers the flexibility for people to do things like this. We have a community with membership with folks like Adam, like Full City Consulting, that are available for support for a company like this. And at the end of the day, we're about bringing clarity to complex problems. So I thought this is a fantastic way to sort of express what our workplace innovation platform is about. You're hearing already how we're iterating as a company to execute it on it as best we can. And so I look forward to hearing from you, your stories, what you've done with the platform, and where you're going this year. In past years at DevCon, of course, in the keynote, we've usually spent some time talking about the product, our platform itself. As Brad said already, we're going to do that tomorrow and spend a lot of time on our product roadmap and the technologies to come. If I am extremely excited about the things that Brad has presented on stage today so far, in the way that we are transforming as a company to deliver rapidly for you in the industry, our platform, I am as equally excited about what you're going to see tomorrow, because I think that Srini and the team are going to just blow your socks off. It's going to be awesome. So that's my part for today. I just want to say thank you very, very much for all your support, and I look forward to meeting everybody this week. We have one more thing to do up here today, and to do that, I would like to introduce back to the stage my boss, colleague, and friend, Brad Freitag. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. Our next challenge, and it's really threefold. Our category, the Workplace Innovation Platform, awareness level is not as high as it needs to be. It's not a surprise given that we introduced it last year, but this is an opportunity to elevate what we're doing. Everybody should know about it. Small and mid-sized businesses, teams around the world, departments of large organizations. Second problem is that our brand as FileMaker has pretty frequently been described as old, rusty, stale, legacy brand. And then third, we've made an acquisition with Stampley. We're going to offer that as a new product, and we do need to name it. The paradox is how much people love FileMaker as a product. There's incredible customer loyalty, great reviews on the App Store, long-time customer value, really high retention. So let me pause and acknowledge that we are going to maintain FileMaker as a product name. Now, the sources for our brand information are broad. We started with our employees and recognized that there were some brand improvements we needed to make. In my first activity as CEO, I went on a roadshow, met with customers and partners, and heard resonant the theme that we needed to improve our brand. We have great resources at our parent company who happen to know marketing really well, and they've said it is a narrow brand to deliver our vision. So we created a process involving a broad team within FileMaker. We had product, engineering, sales, marketing. We also engaged a world-class brand strategist in Siegel and Gale to help us go through the process of creating the brand that was going to work for us. We started with 1,000 possibilities, 1,000 naming possibilities, and went through step by step to deliberate and grind, determine which would be the best for us. We wanted something that would express the notion of clarity, of illumination, of shining the light, of reducing complexity. We knew that we would have to use some derived name. We wanted something that would service us internationally. And so of those 1,000 possibilities, the answer became clear. The answer is Claris. Back up. That's a relief. You know, with any name, you have pros and cons. Trademarking, as it turns out, is a challenge even for things that we've trademarked over the past. When we worked with this brand agency, Siegel and Gale, they have a naming specialist. He's incredibly professional, 25 years experience, and all he does is name products and companies. And when we went through this list of names, he said I would give my left arm to name a software company, Claris. I love the name. I'm really confident that it's going to work for us. But a name alone is insufficient to create a brand. And so with that, we've started with our purpose. We've described our purpose for a long time, that we help you create better ways to work. And we've decided to expand it. So I'd like to share with you our brand narrative. And this has been through many iterations and is the employee representation of why we do what we do, our purpose. And so it goes. Our work is for the problem solvers, the question askers, the solution seekers, those who imagine, design, and create, those who refuse to accept the status quo. Claris offers more than a platform for connected, custom-built solutions. We're a starting point for you to activate your magic. We make it flexible, you make it seamless. We make it simple, you make it successful. We deliver intelligent tools, you bring next-level ideas to life. At Claris, it's not about what we make, it's about what you can achieve. We put the power of a global engineering team and partner community at your fingertips, so you can unlock your own ideas, your own creativity, your own power to change everything. Power to the problem solvers. So this is a deep reflection of why we do what we do. Next was working through our visual identity. In addition to the name, we think about logo, fonts, colors. The consistency of all of this is going to be important as we invest to elevate awareness. So I'd like to share a quick video from our creative director with Siegel and Gale about the visual identity creation process.
As we're developing the visual identity for Claris, we were trying to capture the power of the platform, but also at the same time reflect the creativity of its user base and the limitless possibilities the platform offers. The logo is the anchor of the visual identity. It complements the Claris name and underscores its meaning of creating clarity, bringing ideas to life, and shining a bright light on what users are capable of doing with the platform. We used round and angular shapes within the symbol to capture a human and approachable personality, but at the same time evoke precision and focus. The arrangement of shapes suggests growth from a central point. And the negative space at the center, the open area at the center of the symbol, is meant to evoke this idea of starting with a clean slate or a blank canvas, which speaks to innovation and to applying one's ingenuity to solve problems. We hope the new identity will serve as a beacon for people who want to see things differently and create new ways to move forward.
So to give you a sense for the design applications of our new visual identity, here's a rendering for the iPhone. What you can see is that we've taken unoccupied space by our competition. This stands out. It has a clean look. When we show it all together, you see a great new identity that I think reflects our vision and the aggressive posture we're going to take in all of our marketing efforts. Our goal is to blend brand awareness, PR, thought leadership, and demand generation with a significant integrated investment to elevate the awareness of the Claris brand and the workplace innovation category. We've had great work by our marketing department to introduce a new way of communicating who we are, what we do. Some of these videos are examples. You'll also have the opportunity this week to participate in an interactive digital brand experience. So we think it's not enough to go with a brand. We recognize that we need to live this out. We need to execute. It's been an incredibly busy 4 months for me and for the rest of the team. We're going at a fast pace. We feel like we have the vision and strategy. We really believe in it. We think it's strong. Market conditions support what we're doing. We know we need to grow the problem solvers. We're going to make significant continued investments into our product roadmap, whether that's through organic innovation or through acquisitions. There's opportunity to expand offerings through our marketplace, where many of you can participate. We have explicit values we will adhere to, including an all-in commitment, and we're very clear about our purpose. So with that, I would love all of you to go out and celebrate this DevCon. Let's make this the best ever, generate lots more interest, and look to grow this community for the coming years. Thanks very much. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.